I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Vita and Chip and Rocky.
Word of the day is love, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, nice.
Octopus. Speaking of love, if you want to see what Sori's life is like outside of YouTube,
check out My Sori Life. I just did an interview with Dorian, so you'll get to find out a little bit of information about him.
they've already seen it.
Zoe's is coming to, well, not everybody has.
By the time they're watching this, Zoe's will be published.
Yeah, Zoe's is coming out. That's fine, but I'm just saying, not everybody, this might be one. They maybe just watch the Type O reviews.
That's true. We've just done an interview with Dorian, and Zoe's coming up soon, inshallah.
And then Johan, and then you'll have Selah, so...
Yes, and if you want to be angry or to have your blood boil, you can check out Middle America with Vin and Sori.
Yep.
Where we talk about politics and religion. Usually the format is we do little 5-10 minute pieces on the news, and then we do a fireside where we talk about the topics that we just shot on. Now look, in the fireside, it's like the regular fireside. You can talk about anything you want. You can call in and talk about anything you want. But usually what happens in like political commentary shows is the guy gets up there, he bloviates, and then nobody ever gets to contest him. Yeah. So we open the fireside.
So everybody yells at their TVs or computer screens.
Right. Well, take notes. Take notes. And then get at me, dog. Yep. Come at me, bro.
Call in.
Call in.
Vin and Sori. Vin and space Sori.
Yeah. We had a very fruitful discussion with the big homie Elio Mike. That's up there. So, but it's normal fireside like anything, so you can talk about anything you want. We had abortion conversation, police brutality conversation. Then somebody called up and talked to us about God. I mean, it happens. So that's all on Middle America with Vin and Sori. And then you've got My Sori Life. And then here we are. Okay, typo negative. We got this from the website, actually.
Yeah, we did. VinandSori.com. You can go in and you can put one request in per day. And then it flags me to tell me which songs are the most requested. So this one had a pretty high percentage on it of people that really want to see this song done. So
doesn't guarantee that you're going to get your song done if it's in the long black. We're not guaranteeing that. The only way to guarantee that you're going to... The only way you're going to guarantee a song is if you're in a Patreon community. But this does help us streamline, and it does help us pick out what the vast majority of people want.
Yeah.
Okay.
So go there. You can put in one per day.
Unsuccessfully coping with the natural beauty of infidelity.
That is a long title.
All right, let's do it.
And go.
refused to learn your lesson. You gave till it hurt, thought it was right. Only fools make mistakes twice. Drinking alone, empty bottle in your hand. Don't even try to sort out the lines. It's worse to try to understand. You make me hate myself. I know you're fucking someone else. I know you're fucking someone else.
Yikes. Probably the most misogynistic song I've heard in my entire life thus far.
Yeah.
And I listen to a lot of rap. Good night.
Yeah.
Were you surprised?
I was, yeah. I didn't, Yeah, I didn't expect it to be like that. Like, I don't know. I think that, I don't know. I don't think that you should ever get to the point where if something happens to like your relationship that you like hate. Why is he saying he hates himself?
Well, probably because he trusted her or he allowed himself to be in that situation. Mm-hmm. And, you know.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
So he ends up hating himself for looking like a fool.
Yeah, I can understand that.
What do you mean?
That makes sense.
Gave till it hurt. I thought it was right. Only
Yeah.
fools make mistakes twice. That's a conundrum you find yourself in.
Yes. Amen.
You know,
Yeah.
because biblically, it's a pretty stringent concept in marriage now on divorce.
Yeah.
You only have a few outs. One of the major one is porneia, Jesus says. Mm-hmm. And porneia is sexual immorality. It sounds like pornography, but sexual immorality. And so at that point, you get faced with a decision as to whether or not you can continue with the relationship or whether you want to dissolve the relationship. Mm-hmm. Most people continue.
Uh-huh.
Most people that I've seen just in practical life don't, especially if they're married, don't end the relationship on the first offense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, conventional wisdom says if they do it once, they'll do it again. Mm-hmm. That's not always true, but it's not always false either. Mm-hmm. So it's a really difficult conundrum.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, if the person cheated on me, I would stay with them. Or they say, I'd leave immediately.
I hear people say, I'd leave immediately.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I'm like, you wouldn't.
It's not the way.
It's not as easy as you think it is.
Some people would, but some people wouldn't.
Yeah, well, I'm saying the people that have said it to me, I'm like, you wouldn't. Neither one of you. Both of you.
And you didn't.
No, I didn't leave on the first offense.
So, obviously, it's not.
But a lot of people don't know.
Not talking about me in this one.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know because they keep they're getting confused on my channel. Vin and I just got married in March.
Right.
So he was married before, and so was I. So we kind of joined forces here. But I'll tell more of the story on my channel. So if you wanna see that, that'll be coming out. I don't know. Who knows with me?
Really?
I'm gonna tell some of it. Not much.
Whoa.
I mean, not a ton, but some.
That's
yeah.
deep.
I think
Right.
because people are like wanting to know like what. So I'll answer some questions. Not all.
So you
I didn't like this one.
I didn't think you'd like it.
I didn't like it at all.
I'd like to hear what Jen has to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So on the one hand, it's like if I pull back and I say in the middle of like finding out it's happened for like the third or fifth time, if he went on a tirade and called her all these terrible names, you know, on the one hand you can go, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's kind of like being black in America. Like, you can be friends with somebody, and then, like, if you, especially up in the Northeast here, if you have a real disagreement, all of a sudden, nigger comes out. It's like, whoa, wait a second.
Oh, that was there all the
I was
time.
there the whole time. You had it in your resolve. You know what I mean? And I feel like misogyny works the exact same way. It's
No,
like,
I agree. Yeah.
as long as the woman's, and granted, I as Christian, this is egregious. If you know she did this, you know,
Right.
Where let's say the character in the song, she did this. It's absolutely egregious. But to pull out the slut whore, you know,
I know,
the other word I'm not even gonna say. You know, it's like it's like and really, really descriptive of of it's like it definitely presents a very strange, like, okay, somebody's at the height of their, and then I think to myself, well, are there words like this for men?
No. I don't know of
It's
any.
not
But I don't know of
it's
any.
not a rhetorical question. I'm really thinking, like, dog, they'll say that in the hood, they'll say men are dogs, so they'll say that. But
Yeah,
dudes
so
will call each other that. He's like, you dirty dog.
Yeah, no, if
It's
there's-
kind of, you know, so it's that conundrum where if a man is promiscuous, he's like, it's actually a status symbol.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a status symbol for himself, and of a woman, you have all these words in reserve to try to, you know, degrade her and all the rest of it. And I think, you know, people are going to say, oh, that's social justice-y, but I'm like, we got to think about our collective psychology here.
Yep. I think too a lot of times that that there's like this switch that happens in relationships where the man, instead of viewing her as like a counterpart, and he starts viewing her as property, and then she belongs to him. So the reaction is different when something happens, when like a belonging of his goes out and does something, and the reaction that they do is usually, I don't know, more like this.
Well, it is interesting because he's not. It doesn't seem to be there's like a lot of real heartbreak here. The opening line is talking about him being a fool. Trust and you'll be trusted, says Elijah, a fool. And then at the end, he again talks about being a fool. And he talks about being fooled through it. So it seems like his pride is what's wounded the most in this interaction, not necessarily, you know, oh, you broke my heart, our relationship is over.
Yeah.
But it's more...
I mean, he did say, the only thing that lasts forever is our memory. The only thing that lasts forever are memories and sorrow.
Yeah.
That sounded, you know...
And he talks about betrayal and things like that. So I'm not saying that
but there was a lot that was
but
not...
the song is sandwiched by him feeling like a fool.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is
That's how I
We
felt.
had that conversation yesterday where like the dominating emotion was that you took a hit to your pride, you felt like a fool.
Yeah.
Because there were obvious signs all throughout that were, you know, I don't know. Okay, I'm saying too much or okay, how did it go?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
just talk about that if we want to.
So I'm looking at that going, well, geez, man. Like, it is something very interesting in our culture where it's like you got these words in reserve for women that there's about 5 or 6 of them that are just like insane. There's like the whole lexicon of vocabulary that we can use for women, but men in that situation, it's
no, yeah. I think that there's a difference too between like somebody who's just deeply misogynistic, and is that how you would say that?
Yeah.
I've just heard people say misogynist, but and how that's gonna come out by calling her all those names, and then there's also an angle, which that's what I got from this song, like that's the angle it seemed to be, but I think that there's also sometimes when people don't want to feel the sorrow and the hurt, then they transfer it to anger, and then they lash out because the anger is much easier because it feels more powerful than feeling like sorrow and hurt and pain and being taken advantage of or whatever. So a lot of times that transfer happens, and then you know, say and do things that you wouldn't have done otherwise. But
especially as a man, you're not allowed to. And I know that in the hood, you never cry over a girl. That's like, you could never do that, ever. In all of the music and things like that, we were trained, like, if you're a man, you don't, you don't, and if your girl runs out on you, it's basically, well, you was a hoe anyway, I knew that from the beginning, and you could never really process the feelings of pain and hurt and betrayal as a man. So the part of it is like, okay, this sounds misogynistic, but the other side of it is like, would he even be allowed, you know, to be, what is this, 1991?
yeah.
Would you even be allowed to say, to be that vulnerable and be that native to your emotional core as to like how you actually, and I'm not even talking about getting in touch with your feminine side, because men get hurt as men.
Right.
You know?
Well, yeah, he said, I'm a man, but.
Yeah, I'm a man, but it still hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, so he's supposed to, you know, that kind of cosigns what I was saying. Like, as a man, he's just supposed to go, you know, it happens. Who cares? Like, no, just like a woman would cry and be in pain if that would happen. That happens to men a lot. But you're not allowed to be that way as a man. At least in my experience, in my community, when I was growing up, it was just like, you know, when it comes to hoes, I'm invincible. Don't love no hoe. That's my principle. You know what I mean? Like, me give my heart to a woman, not for nothing, never happen. I'll be forever macking. Hardcore like assassin.
No.
I got no passion. I got no patience. I ain't waiting. Go get your ass in. But it's like, that's all it was. It was just like, you know, you don't you dare ever.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
kiss the hoe, and when the bitch leave, you fuck around and miss the hoe. I'm the type to kiss the hoe and diss the hoe. You know, like that's all we were hearing. It's like you're, you know, so you're not masculine if you feel anything with somebody that you've invested a lot of your life in.
Jeez.
And you're just supposed to just
I don't think that those songs are like. I don't think that that's funny that they have that attitude toward women. I just think whenever he raps like that, I always find it entertaining.
But some of it is an attitude toward women, but mostly it's an attitude toward what masculinity is, because the war on drugs took our dads away.
Right.
I'm messing with you, kind of.
Well, no, it's true.
But like,
yeah.
So you didn't really have any. The war on drugs didn't take my dad away.
No.
There are other situations that.
Yeah,
that
but
did
you're
that,
from Jamaica, so.
Yeah, but like you. These guys were the guys that were like speaking into us and telling us what masculinity was. So I don't know what his background was, but it's like, I don't think I've ever really heard a popular song where a man got, left or cheated on or whatever, and then he was able to just be like completely honest about how, well, Snuff from Slipknot, that one was good.
Wow.
We did that very, very, very
what was he saying?
He was talking about, I mean, it was angry, but it wasn't. He didn't call her any names. He didn't, he was just being angry at her. But it was also a sad song too, a lot of minor chords, and you could tell that he was sad.
Yeah, there's a country song too where he basically. I always like randomly like I'll listen to it. Although I watched the music video, I couldn't take it seriously after that. But before the music video,
music videos can really
can wreck a song.
Yeah,
like he basically says like he's. It's trucks. He's going to drive up and he's going to flash his lights into her bedroom window so that way nobody's going to get any sleep tonight because he wants to wreck the night between her and this guy. And then he's like, he's going to have some beer and he's going to just, but you can tell that like when you hear the song, he sounds like he's sad, and like even when you watch the music video, people have those rings. Sometimes it's a heart that kind of crosses over, just different stuff like that. Like that's on her steps with the heart broken off, and you can tell that it was like hurtful to him. But when you watch the music video, it's an embarrassment.
Silly.
Yeah. like they set up all these vehicles and then he goes like this and all the lights come on. It wasn't just his truck.
I thought I was like, she's not gonna like it, but it's like
I didn't like it. I didn't even like the sound of it because I'm so used to his voice, and I like that. Yes, I like that.
It's like, come on, Mr. Steele, why couldn't you forgive her?
Yeah, you're the one.
Forgive her. Forgive her.
Forgive her. I was gonna say forgive me, but I didn't do anything.
But you know what else was interesting? That constant refrain, I know you're fucking someone else. It's like, I know. Yeah. Because it's like the concept of I don't want to be the fool. Like I knew.
Yeah.
I knew you were that type of person.
Yeah. And then it says he knows.
He knows.
So he's talking about
some of it was just tongue in cheek.
Some of it,
like, I know, yeah. And then he knows, yeah. It's like and then he goes, I said I know, and then it's like he said you know. Yeah. Some of it was like because
I kind of felt jokey.
I'm starting to figure them out. Like he's like a little bit jokey, a little bit tongue in cheek, but he still says serious stuff.
Yeah.
So I
think that this is a very real thing that a lot of people have had to deal with.
Yes.
And I think that, like as a woman, like I always feel like, oh, this always happens to women. But there's actually been a lot of situations, even since we've started this channel, where I've heard of like different men, talking about their situation and the heartbreak that goes along with it. And it's actually sad, like when you hear a woman, like you can, like for me, like I'm like, oh yeah, I can see how that would be, and I feel like angry and whatever with them. But then like hearing a guy say it, especially when like they were true to the relationship and they really loved the woman, and then she went out on them and stuff like that. It's sad. It's sad to hear. It's sad all the way around. Like anytime that there's unfaithfulness in relationships, but it happens to both sides.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
and I think that this song is a reflection of toxicity to both of us. How the woman is being described and the fact that he can't just be sad about it.
That's what I'm saying.
As a man. Like I and even he even says I'm a man, and even though I'm a man, blah blah blah, as if he's not supposed to be hurt by it. And I think it, but this is what I'm talking about, where people like automatically want to broad brush feminism or want to dispense with any any sort of progress in thought about gender and how we're relating to each other as men and women. Look, as a Christian, in the garden, it says that there would be a war of the sexes. Right? That's what it says. Your desire be for your husband, he'll rule over you.
Right.
And that's basically a Hebrew way of saying there's going to be a battle of the sexes. And so, for me, when I look at these cultural conversations about, toxic masculinity, misogyny, misandry, are the feminists taking it too far, blah, 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 I always think to myself, the grid that I look through all of that is through that concept that there's going to be a battle of the sexes due to the curse. And so, that's why I'm open to hearing those discussions on both sides, because I see it manifested in this song.
Yeah.
Is the guy can't just be a complete human.
No.
And mourn and feel sad. He's got to, and even when he says he's hurt, he has to qualify. He still has to affirm his masculinity. Yeah. I think that's a problem. And I think that leads to very dangerous behavior. Like the whole male ego thing is real. I've seen people shot. I've seen people killed over the male ego thing and not being able to admit that you're hurt or whatever, and having to convert pain into violence and so it's real. Yeah. All the people who've never experienced that and never really sat and thought through the chain of events that created this dead body you know what I mean? It's real. It actually happens. And, and I'm not even talking about men to women now. I'm just talking about men's inability to cope with pain, which is, unsuccessfully coping with the natural beauty of infidelity. It's a very ironic title.
Yeah.
I think when he says natural beauty, I think he means that it's just native to human nature to be unfaithful. And I think he's right. I think he's right about that.
Oh, really?
What?
You think that it's natural to be unfaithful?
Well, I mean, if you're born with a sinful nature.
Oh, yeah.
If you combine be fruitful and multiply with a sinful nature, then it's natural to be to practice infidelity.
Well, that's scary.
That's why you have to have a commandment against it.
That's true.
Right? So...
Oh, gosh. I hate it when you show me these things.
And that's why it's got to skip from the Old Testament to the New Testament. There's certain laws that died in the Old Testament, and there's certain ones where it's like, no, we're carrying that one over, and this is one of them, right?
Yeah.
So, being able... Look, if you're in any sort of relationship, you're going to experience betrayal at some level. Not the physical aspect, maybe, but there's going to be some level where it's like, oh, the person wasn't there for you or whatever. And I think he's self-aware in the sense that he is coping with it, but badly.
Well, yeah, he said unsuccessfully.
Right? And I think that's a very... but I don't think he finds a solution in this particular song.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of guys are. And we're not because we can't have the conversation. And because we can't self-criticize. See, that's the other thing. We kind of cut it. The feminists to some degree are helping us. And we don't even realize it.
How?
When the feminists talk about toxic masculinity and things like that, and we immediately go, okay. Well, we're not going to talk about it to each other. So the feminists come to us and say, y'all got some toxic issues. Some of it cuckoo, absolutely. Some of it is absolutely cuckoo. I saw a thing where the kid's playing, war outside or something. Oh, that's toxic masculinity. Well, look, the vast majority of people in world history that have done jihad are men. And I'm sorry, I train my boys that if you're walking down the street and some dude attacks your sister, even though your sister's stronger than you, you need to stand in between. That's what it means to be a man. They're calling that toxically masculine. Okay, that's dumb. But I don't care what anybody says. Any woman, when you're attacked, if your man were to stand behind you and say, we're equal, that would be the end of that relationship. I don't care what you say. Come on, Jen. You were mad? Jen, come on. You know I'm right, girl. But when they say you guys have jacked up understandings of what it means to be a man in certain other situations, you gotta listen, because if we were to actually able to have these discussions, this is an example of toxic masculinity where I don't think he wants to feel this way.
Yeah.
He wants to successfully
cope with it,
but he can't because he only has one definition of masculinity. So if we would listen to our sisters,
I wonder too when he says at the end, you know, he says, I know you're fucking someone, and it says he knows you're fucking someone else. Like, do you think that also is supposed to be the whole, like, that's all of his male friends?
That's his boys, yeah.
Yeah. Who are encouraging him to have this type of response. Yeah, call her that. Like, but to have somebody that would say, like, you know, ask you the question, like, you know how sometimes when the kids will be, like, really angry about something?
Yeah.
And then when you break it down with them, they realize that what happened first was they got really sad, and then they didn't want to feel sad, so then they got really angry.
Yeah.
And so, like, to have somebody in your life that's able to say, hey, like, stop. How did you get to this point? Oh my gosh, like, a lot of it came from feeling really, really sad, and that sorrow sometimes feels like it's too great for the soul. And that level of betrayal, especially if you trusted somebody, it's tough.
Yeah, yeah. There's a song that Biggie wrote called Another. I need another bitch in my life. And then in the line it says, talk to my man Jigga, my ace boom coon, told me cut the bitch off for the shit balloon. Now I'm like, damn, just sitting in my room, pissy drunk, listening to stylistic tunes from the OJs, think about the old days. My man be like, fuck that bitch, go play, baller. If she beats you, don't call her. You see what I'm saying? It's like, so your boys come in and say, fuck her, yeah, you don't care about her, let's go get another girl. Mm-hmm. And so dudes are coming around you, and that's what happens. Like, they come around, fuck that girl. And you know what? Sometimes it might be like, yo, this girl's unhealthy, she's psychotic.
Yeah.
Like, I've had dude friends where, like, the girl was, like, legit psychotic and was, like, just using him and all that. That's a different conversation, though. Right. It's not like, fuck her. It's just like, bro, you can't help her, and you're going to destroy yourself. So take some time and get your head straight. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. That's different from saying, hey, fuck her, let's go to the club. And if she tries to call you and reconcile, don't respond. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? And so you're right. It's like the dude. So as I'm saying, it's like, that's why we're in a society of men and women, so that we can, like, check and balance each other and say, I think women have something to say about masculinity, but because we're so silly and we're so simple-minded, the minute a feminist says anything, you immediately want to dismiss it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then when a dude says, actually, no, the feminists are, like, we just have to mature in our thinking. Mm-hmm. Like, we just have to, like, grow up a little bit and realize
listen to each other.
And listen to each other. The way that we're doing masculinity right now,
just because somebody says one thing that's crazy doesn't mean that every single thing that they say there on after is crazy.
I know it.
Like, can you just weed through the stuff that doesn't make any sense, you know?
It's so strange to me. It's like the person.
Nobody has 100% accuracy with everything that they say.
Except Jesus. The person's going to have, like, a completely perfect record for them to be viable. It's like, it's okay. I think as men, like, we ignore our feminists at our own peril.
Unless they're saying what you want them to say.
Right.
And in which case they can say many other things that are false.
Right.
And you'll be like, well, but they said.
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. But, you know, I love, though, that he titled it this way, because he's saying this is an unhealthy way of handling it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and there's no solution for men in this song. Mm-hmm. But I'll just say, if you're hurt, man, say you're hurt. It's all good. Nobody's gonna think less of you. And if they do think less of you, then they're trapped in a certain mindset. You know. Mm-hmm. Good Lord. I just think that if you're done with the person and you're ready to just go off and explore other, I never like why stay with the person? Like, you're done. Just be done.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the other thing. Like, if you're done with the person, be done with them. Don't go out and do that. Just say we're done. Mm-hmm. You know, but you know, that's a very difficult conversation. And the human spirit is so layered. It's insane.
Yeah.
Because it's just not that. Even though I'm saying that, I'm realizing it's just not that easy.
Simple.
You know, so it's like.
And in one moment you can think you can do it, and then the next moment comes, and because nobody's all bad.
Right.
Or most people aren't all bad.
Well, the longer you're in it, I mean, I'm saying from personal experience, the longer you're in it, man, forget it.
The harder it is to.
Yeah, but anyway, what do you give the song?
5.
A 5?
Yeah. I didn't really like it.
This is a 8.8 to me.
Wow.
Because I think he brilliantly, from the lyrics, you know, communicated to me the situation that we're in, because we don't know how to talk to each other and we don't know how to relate to ourselves.
Yeah.
in other people. So I thought it was a really, really, really important song lyrically. I didn't enjoy the music till the last like third of the song, to where it was like closer to what I was expecting sonically from Typo, because at the beginning it was kind of metal punkish at the beginning, which I was like pleasantly surprised by, and then kind of like, you know, I was pleasantly surprised by because I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be 12 minutes of you know, but then toward the end, the last part of it, I actually liked that part of it. It's probably 2.5 minutes too long in my opinion. So it's an 8.8 for me. What do you got? 5. Woo!
Yeah.
Lowest Typo song ever.
Yeah.
Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.
Trust and you'll be trusted, says the lie.